Brazilian troops took over one of the country's biggest slums in an effort to rid the neighborhood of drug gangs. Officials in Rio de Janeiro say areas in and around Rocinha are now secure following an assault early Sunday. Our Shasta Darlington is live in Sao Paulo with the latest. Shasta, this could have been like an invasion of enemy territory. Certainly the authorities were armed for it, but it turned out very different, I guess, than some people had feared.
That's right, Jonathan. This was a very impressive operation. There were 3,000 troops involved, everything from police special forces to traffic cops. That also includes about 200 Navy commandos with armored personnel carriers, tanks, and plenty of helicopters flying overhead. They actually closed off all of the access roads to Rocinha and to neighboring favelas and shantytowns at 2:30 a.m., and then they moved in at around 4 a.m., and incredibly, 2 hours later, they declared that they had successfully taken over, that they were in command. And according to one tweet from the Rio de Janeiro governor, not a single shot was fired. Now, what we've seen lately is police showing off some of the weapons that they've seized, automatic weapons, grenades. They've also talked about massive drug seizures. But most of the arrests, the really important arrests, were made in days leading up to this operation, which could help explain why it turned out a little differently. And now the hard part really starts. What we're seeing is the government wants to control these areas before the World Cup in 2014, bring down crime, get rid of these drug traffickers, and before the Olympic Games in 2016. It's really important for them to make sure that tourists will come in, feel safe. A lot of these shantytowns overlook beachside condominiums in these very interesting neighborhoods for tourists. They've got their work cut out for them. There are some 1,000 favelas in Rio, and they've only occupied a few dozen since they started their operations. But they have grabbed some of the very big ones like Rocinha a year ago. They got Alemão, which is another big complex. Now what they have to show is that they can keep control of them, Jonathan.
I'm still astonished. I mean, they are to be congratulated on their success, but I'm astonished by it, to be honest, only because in previous attempts, these have led to bloody battles. It's been at an enormous cost, and today it seems like they simply walked in. Are we left to just speculate about why things went so well?
Well, that's right, Jonathan. A year ago, when they took over the favela, the shantytown that I mentioned, Alemão, more than 30 people were killed in shootouts, and today, so far at least, according to the police, there haven't been any deaths. But that is partly due to the fact that they arrested the top drug trafficker from Rocinha a few days ago. The police found him in the trunk of a car trying to get out of there. He was with a couple of his very high-level accomplices. A bunch of weapons were seized. So they really laid the groundwork. They got rid of the guy who was in charge, and on top of that, one of their new strategies is to announce the heck out of this. They let everyone know they're coming, and part of that is so that they can avoid the shootouts that would result if they were to storm these favelas by surprise. What they're left with, however, is they don't obviously arrest many of the drug traffickers because they have announced they're coming. So in the ensuing weeks and days, they have to find them, and that could, of course, lead to some standoffs, and it certainly means that they're still out on the streets somewhere. So they still have a lot of work ahead. They also have to occupy these neighborhoods. They have to ensure the people who live there that they're there to help them, not just the tourists coming to the World Cup in a couple of years. That means helping set up maybe some health services, paving roads that weren't paved before, and making people feel that they're the ones who matter, Jonathan.
That's the job ahead. Shasta Darlington in Sao Paulo. Thanks very much.